if you're a heat and air conditioning technician or even a salesperson, what are 10 discount strategies that your buyers use against you, and why does it matter? This is a fantastic question. I'm Scott Silva Bell, coming to you live from Sacramento, California. Perfect day to talk about sales and business, and a fantastic day to talk about you. Okay, so your buyer, the person that you're meeting with for your product or service or widget gizmo, has a playbook. And here's the thing. The more that you're in the field, the more that you get used to these plays. You can see them and spot them real time, and you're like, I already know where this one's going. And be aware that for some people, they don't care about your product. They don't care about your service. The only thing they care about is a price, right? They're like, I'm not buying a product or service. I'm buying a price. And you have to be able to have this conversation. So I have 10 different ways that people play games. And so let's start with the first one. Number one, the fake freak out. I can think of a time where I met with a guy in a nice house in a gated community, and we're talking about two systems, right? So one system, California numbers, you may have to modify your difference. This was for heating and air. California numbers were like $15,000, $20,000 per heating and air unit, okay? So 2 units times 2 were between 30 and 40,000. And this guy freaks out. Like, this is the most extreme case. What? What do you mean? This is outrageous. And he gets up out of his chair, and he's got a good sized kitchen with an island in the middle, and he dances around his kitchen island. And I'm like inside, I'm laughing. I'm like, this guy's throwing a temper tantrum because he doesn't know that I know that this is his negotiation style. I'm like, game on. I know your negotiation style is going to be outrage, right? In my mind, I'm like, outrage. That's the one that you want to pick? Okay, pick that one. So outrage, for the freak out. You have to be prepared for this. This is absolutely ridiculous, right? Because it's really hard in a lot of people in influential situations to overcome angry. This is why cops are always angry when they come to your window. It's like, it's an authority figure that's already mad. Be aware that you're going to have to be the person that remains calm. Number 2, your phrases. Do your best. Do your best. Right? Like, hey, you're going to have to give me a better price and do your best. Like, at that point, you can pull out a deck of playing cards. And you're like, oh, since we're playing poker here, right? You have to be prepared for the person who says, do your best. And if you ask them, like, I don't know what that means, you're going to have to give me some definition. What do you mean by do your best? I have a price here of $10,000. Do my best? I mean, $9,999? Like, you kind of turn it into a game, right? That's one way to deal with it. And then, how am I supposed to do that is going to be questions. It's not going to be a direct statement. It's like, well, if you're asking how am I supposed to do that, we're going to have a conversation. Are you against us having a conversation? Right? You're going to have to envelop and enroll that person into some talking strategies and ask them some questions. Now, here's the thing. If you want to be better at sales, you want to be good at what you do, you should absolutely join my email publication. Right here, go to this URL, type it into a browser, and I'll give you the goods. Not the Facebook group, not the YouTube channel. It means private coaching, private training, discounted coaching, discounted training. It's emails. You'll love them. Okay? Number 3. So let's say that I have a product at 20 grand and I got a product at 10 grand. Okay? Product at 20, product at 10. And I've got the ability to discount 10%. Sometimes what people will do is they'll say, okay, I want to see the price of the $20,000 unit, price A, and the $10,000 unit, price B. And let's say you give a 10% discount on both. So on the $20,000 unit, you have $2,000 you've taken off. On the $10,000 unit, you've got $1,000. I have seen people occasionally say, I want the same discount on the $20,000 unit, but applied to the $10,000 unit, right? So you better be prepared and say, hey, look, I'm maxed out. I've given you everything that I've got. I would love to do business with you, right? Do you want me to fail at helping you out? That's one way that you can address it. Is it the only way? No, but you have to be prepared for the disproportionate discount where somebody comes in and says, I want the discount that's attached to this item to be applied to this one. It's kind of a form of cherry picking. And cherry picking is this. Somebody goes out and gets 10 bids. And in 10 bids, there's 10 separate line items. They want line items. And so what they'll do is they'll say, well, on this line item, this one's the cheapest. On item number 2, this one's the cheapest. And item number 3, this one's the cheapest. And they Frankenstein bids together, okay? So it's kind of like a Frankenstein version of a discount program that you need to know about. Number 4, fake discounts from others. Like everybody, like, oh, I've got a better price. Okay, Well, I mean, all things aside, you're going to do a lockdown technique. All things aside, are you happy with the company, the program, the product, the offering, right? Is the only thing here the price, right? You're going to confirm is the only thing that's stopping it. The only thing, right? The only thing that's stopping us is the price, right? And they're going to say yes, okay? And so here's my thing. When I was in sales, if someone would say, I've got a better price and like I'm negotiating against myself, my first answer was, great, let's see it. And they always, well, I can't do that. That would be unethical. Well, here's the thing. Don't you think it's a little bit unethical to tell me you got a better price? I don't know scope of work. I don't know product. I don't know what you're willing to do. I don't know what program you're running. I don't know financing. I don't know cash. I don't know credit card. Like, we're comparing apples and oranges at this point, and I'm going to need some help from you. Right? You're telling me you want a better price? Fantastic. Let's have that conversation. But let's put some cards on the table. Right? What I'm not going to do is negotiate against myself when I don't even know. Do you really have that price? Right? There's been plenty of times in my lifetime where I negotiate against myself and I didn't know it. They didn't have a price. They get to the end of the call and they chuckle. Ha ha ha. I never talked to anybody. I just got a better price on you. Rip up the contract. The loyalty trap. Number five, loyalty trap. Don't you know how long I've been doing business with you? This is a guilt trip. Like, be prepared, go buy a ticket, get the ticket for the guilt trip train, because here it comes. Don't you know how long I've been a client for? Right? I demand better. I demand better. Like, then you have to like, hey, let's go back in history. Since you're going to bring up history and you're going to bring up old history, let's go through it. And you're going to do like a reverse lockdown technique. In the past, isn't it true? It's like a court of law, right? Isn't it true that we have delivered X, Y, and Z in 1, 2, and 3, right? And there is a price to that. There is an association to that. And if you're starting a new relationship, you are starting at zero. And you probably won't get what you need because you didn't pay enough, right? You know what's worse than paying too much? Not paying enough, okay? Number 6, I'm doing you a favor. At some point, you are going to meet with a person who makes it feel like and seem like it's you were there getting the favor by having them make a purchase from you. Well, maybe it's true. But I have always found that when people act like that, they typically are bad clients. You're never going to see them for business again. It's the same person. I'm going to get to this one. Yes, there's a lot of that, okay? Number seven, you got to be aware of this. At some point, you're going to deal with an influencer these days, and the influencer is going to come back to you and say, I have 1 million followers, right? And if you do business with me, I will give you a shout out. Great. Love it. But if you really want to test the strength of your 1 million followers and how many of them are loyal, we'll make you an affiliate. We'll give you an affiliate code. And for everybody that does buy from you, we will pay you affiliate fees, right? We're going to treat you like an affiliate. You want me to be an affiliate for you and you're going to treat me like an affiliate? We're going to come back and have the same conversation. Right? I watch all of these YouTube videos and all of these TikToks and all of these Facebooks, and like, there's live scenarios and fake live scenarios where people get on and like, I want this, and don't you know who I am? And if I do business with you, I'm going to drive traffic. For some products, their followers can't afford them, right? Like, you want me to give you a discount because you have 60,000 12-year-olds that can buy from me that are not my ideal client, right? So like, this would really be part of the conversation. Okay, great. You're going to claim you have 1 million followers. How many of them are my ideal client profile? How many of them really meet what I do, right? And there's going to be proportionate to it. You're going to come to me and say, I'm an influencer. I'm like, oh, fantastic. You're an influencer. High five. Good job. Love it. Fantastic. Good. But how many of those people in that group will actually have the wherewithal, the capability, and the ability to buy from me? If I'm a local business and your follower is in Paris, France, no, I'm probably not going to get business. So it's going to be a disproportionate number, right? So be aware that this is part of the shenanigans. Number 8, give me your best price, right? So you don't do any type of lockdown technique. You don't have any type of conversation, right? You don't confirm that like you're the company, you're the product, you're the service. So if somebody comes to me, Scott, you got to give me a better price. Well, consulting, sorry, buddy, it's not going to happen. Somebody comes to me for a product or service, maybe, right? Maybe that's possible. I'm going to go through a lockdown technique. Just want to confirm that we're the product, the company, service. Would be a ridiculous idea if we did this work. Do you want us to do the work, right? You got to be aware that sometimes in price matching, the person doesn't want to work with the person that they got the bid from. So I could be up against Chuck in a truck and somebody says, you got to give me a better price. You got to match this. And I go, great. You have a price from Chuck. Would you have Chuck do this work? No. Well, then why am I going to price match something that you would never have somebody do? Okay. So be aware of I will get a really good price and I'll call you back. So, you could ask the question, if I could do that, then what? I don't know if I can, right? This is a really good question to ask. I don't know if I can, but if I could, then what happens next? Well, then we're going to think about it. Well, then why would I give you a discount? Like you're putting a ton of pressure on me. Like you can call people out. Like you're putting a ton of pressure on me. This is something that's used against you a lot in sales. Hey, you're a crazy sales guy. You're putting pressure on me. Like, isn't that not putting pressure? I'll call you back. Like you're asking me for my best price. So like you could put a condition to it. My best price is going to be this. I will give you a number. And if I need to come back, that's not the number that I'm going to give you. And they're, oh, well, that's not fair. Well, like you're asking me for my best price. There's a condition to my best price. If you want to hear it and if you're inclined, you can have that number. But if you tell me I'm going to call you back, I'm here right now. It's my favorite day. I got my Ren Spooner Aloha Snoopy shirt on, right? Got Cowabunga right here. Oh, you can't see that. It says Cowabunga, right? Got my Cowabunga right here because I'm wearing it. And if you want my best price, there's a condition to it. And the condition is we're going to use that number today. If I got to come back, it's going to be a different number. So if I give you that number, are you prepared to make a decision today? No, I'm not. Well, then we probably shouldn't talk about it. Well, I really want your number. Well, I can't give it to you because you're not prepared to do it today. Okay, so be aware. Number nine. I know tons of people. We will all do this at the same time. Okay, well, ultimately at the end of the day, who's the decision maker? Ultimately, at the end of the day, who do I go over with everything about the product, the service, the widget, or the gizmo? Right? Everybody in my office building, everybody in my neighborhood. I will get a bunch of people to buy. This is bananas. In my lifetime, selling heating and air, did a lot of years in heating there, and I heard this probably 10 times. And it never panned out. Never, ever, ... stamp. Never, ever panned out. Right? I'll get a bunch of people to buy is baloney. It's a group buy situation. It's one of those things that you're going to spend a ton of time putting proposals together, fighting over this guy's a nickel cheaper on this part and this guy's a nickel cheaper on that one. And you could have gone out and made some deals and made some stuff happen. And you would know who all the buyers are. And so you can set some agendas. And then number 10, you got to be aware of this. Okay. And it was always one of my favorites. It was always, look, I'm going to give you a heating air example. I'd go to somebody's really nice house, really big house, and they would have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units, right? And this was always the story. Hey, Scott, and like you could see this one coming from a mile away, right? For all my friends that are in the industry, you're gonna be like, I totally get this. You pull up, you look at the house, and you're like, yep, I already know the playbook. I already know the game that's gonna get played. They're gonna say, hey, I'm thinking about replacing all of my units. So whatever product you have, I'm thinking about replacing them all. So they want a global bid. Global bid meaning they want everything. They got a 360 deal. They want everything wrapped up, okay? So you go through and you go through the hunt. You take a look at 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 pieces of whatever you have to sell. And then you sit down and you figure out whatever the price happens to be, the investment, the scope of work. And then the person comes back to you and says, well, I gave you 10 bids and all of them are supposed to be $100,000. What would it be for one of them? And then you're like, $15,000. Like, no, I want to pay the $10,000 price. I want the global bid price. I want the volume pricing, right? We never talked about that. So if you're going to have the person who's going to give you the global bid, like realistically, what you got to do is go, hey, look, if you're asking for volume pricing, one, there's time associated to this, right? I can lock this down for as long as the vendor tells me and allows me. Here's the time frame that we have. If you do 1, 2, 3, here's your price. If you do 5 through 7, here's your price. And if you do 7 through 10, here's what we're willing to do. But you got to throw it out there. What I can't do is break it down and say, I'm going to give you the volume pricing for 10 for the price of 1, because it don't work that way. Okay. You have 10 things that I wish I would have known getting into sales 20 25-ish years ago, I'm an old man, 25 years ago of games that buyers play. And there's probably 10 more, but I've given you a list of things that you can be prepared for that you don't have to try to learn on your own, okay? And so maybe you've seen one or two of them, maybe you've seen all 10 of them, but at the end of the day, you have to be prepared, okay? Now, I'm going to give you one that has only happened to me twice in my career that had nothing to do with the buyer. They had nothing to do with the buyer. And that's when you are on a lead, when you're having a conversation, when you're interacting with a person and somebody comes and interrupts your sales process and it's another sales guy, right? And here's the thing. If a sales guy is going to interrupt me, I look at it as game on. Game freaking on. You're going to interrupt me and you're going to come and like, hey, I'm going to try to steal your lead. I'm going to clown you. I'm going to make you look as silly as possible. So you got to be aware of the bonus. You got one of three things to do from here. Just one of three. Find the subscribe button. Click on it. Every time I send out a video, you'll get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, you know what you got to do. Share this video with a friend. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.